Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It's Monday, it's the 10th of June. It's me, it's Phil, and he wants to go at the transfer thing. He was like, "Oh, well, let me tell you what happened." He came on to me. He was on to me earlier, and he says to me, "Yeah, we could talk about this. We could talk about that. We could also talk about why I haven't been on the transfer thing all week. No Phil's fucking show or whatever the fuck he was
The No
moaning
Field
about."
Show. The No
And I
Field
was like,
Show.
you can come on if you want. I said, we only started last Tuesday. You're on a Monday. There hasn't been a Monday since we started it. But
Just saying.
so he's gonna have a go. It could be absolute madness. But as a disclaimer, we've a few things we want to talk about before we get into that. So if you're listening or you're watching now and you hate me and Phil talking about anything that's non-football, if you're watching live now, go make a cup of tea, right? If you're listening afterwards, just, that button that brings you on 15 seconds, just keep bashing that until you get past the non-football stuff. Because, Phil, couple of things. You were doing your latest race for Laura Lynn at the weekend. The
Yep.
Wicklow 200, I think it was called.
The Wicklow 200 indeed, yeah.
Right. So just to remind people, what was involved in this race? What had you to do?
I had to cycle 200 kilometres
That's it.
in under 11 hours because you start at 7, you have to finish by 6. Right?
Okay. So
And
there's no swimming, no running, just
this was
straight out.
This is the simplest one I'm going to do. Right?
So 200 kilometres and
No
then
mess.
and on your bike, 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. for Laura Lynn.
Three and
What
a
was
half-
your target?
yep.
I think your target was around 9.
3,500 metres of climbing across the course of the day, right?
Oh, right. That's a big mountain.
It's across different mountains. We did those 4 major climbs.
What I'm saying is,
across
if you started at ground level and looked up at a mountain, 3,500 feet is fair amount. Is it the sugar
not
loaf?
feet, not feet, meters.
So that's 9,000 feet, 10,000 feet.
So you're into the Alps type
Are
size.
you?
Yeah.
Is the sugar loaf not around that? No.
No, the Sugarloaf's only 250 meters.
Is it?
Yeah.
And this was 3,000 meters.
The highest mountain in Ireland is 950 meters, right?
Right, and you had to climb 3 of them
3 of them.
on a bike as you went along
On a
200
bike.
kilometers. So what was your target?
Target was I wanted to do it. I really wanted to do it in 8.5 hours, right?
Right. Okay.
So that was just under 25 kilometers an hour, taking in the climbing and everything like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was the target, and I did it in 7 hours and 32 minutes.
Fuck. Your target was 8.
Yeah.
And did you think 8 was like, I'm pushing this a little bit, like, or did you think 8 is,
No,
when you said 8,
I knew 8 was doable. I knew 8 was doable, and I'll tell you why, right? Because I'm not just doing this like jumping out of bed in the morning and saying, right, I'll just jump on the bike today and cycle 200 kilometers. So I have been doing all the training, like from all the world records.
yeah, all
being
the
set
world
and
records you broke. We've been down in UCD multiple times.
down.
RTE have so far failed to turn up, but we've had the ceremony anyway.
So yeah, I've been putting the hours in, putting the graft in on the bike, and I knew I was going well. I did 175 by accident, as you know.
Yeah, because it was a diversion.
That was the version that sent me back the way I came.
Yeah.
And so we did 175 by accident, and I was well under the time, right? And I was thinking to myself, right, I've got a chance at doing this. Because the kids were like, Dad, my daughter was like, you have to do it in under 8 hours, Dad. And I was like, all right. I was like, that's not a hope. I'll just tell her I did it under 8 hours, right?
Yeah.
But I have. So anyway, that was it. I was concerned about the second climbs, and to be fair, now the first 35 kilometers are essentially just a climb from start to you get to the top of Sally Gap. You know Sally Gap, right?
Yeah.
Then you dip down into the Blessington Lakes, as we've talked about here many a time with the underwater towns and the works.
Yeah.
And then off out you go towards Baltinglass, Hackettstown, Tinnahealy, which is down the bottom end of Wicklow.
I know Tinnahealy well, yeah.
Yeah. and then you spin a left at Tinnahealy and you start coming back towards what's back into the mountains. So Sleeveman and Glenmalure. So you're basically going across the artillery range in up in the mountains. So that's your two second major climbs, and then you drop back down into Glendalough. And then from Glendalough, you're going back out through the back way into Roundwood, which is another climb, and then back up by Ballinasloe Woods and up by the backside of Periscore Waterfall and back into Enniskerry and back to Bray that way, right? So that's the full 200k. As I said, big climbs. So I was delighted with myself. I knew when I left Glendalough, I knew what time I was on. I was there going, there's a good chance I can do this in under 7, not under 7, no, in under 8. So that was the focus. And I was surprised because the legs were really cramping and everything at that stage, but just nailed
Did
in.
you have to stop?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I stopped twice. I didn't have to stop. I just did, right? Just to get off the bike and stretch, to be totally honest with you, right?
Yeah,
the second time, at 60k, I had to go to the loo, basically. I won't sugarcoat this. I had to go to the toilet. So that's what I stopped for, and to fill up my water bottle. Back on the bike straight away.
Not with your urine, just there's a station there.
Yeah.
I just grab the bike to stretch and piss in the bottle, drink that on the way.
But then the second food station wasn't until 160 kilometres, so it was a long break from 60 to 160, and you've done all your climbing by the time you get there. So the end of your last climb is the second
station,
second field station. So that was the length, that was the tiredness, and my God, those second climbs, because you hit them and they're not just easy sort of rampies. It's like you're hitting the first part of it's like a 14% gradient, and then it just stays at 9% right away to the top. Then it drops down, and then the second one starts at 11% and stays there at 9%.
Can I ask you a question? You know, when you get to the top, is there a little bit of you when you're coming down the hill? There's a little wee down the hill, like you're fucking delighted. You're not even pedaling; you're just sitting there loving it.
No, listen. I go full Lance Armstrong, right?
Oh, do you?
I suppose I shouldn't go full Lance Armstrong. That's wrong.
So when he said he had to grab the bike to go to the toilet, he was going to the toilet. He wasn't like fucking off his face.
No, I was full Sean Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get the buzz out. Like I don't mind going up because crack I have coming down, but like the as you know, the Irish roads are terrible, right? So I'm smacking it on the descents, and it's like you're doing 75 to 85 kilometers an hour on the bike on the descents, right? And the roads are all over the shop.
Yeah.
It's like I'm being bounced all over.
Someone comes out of our garden, then going shopping. I'm
glad I did it, Gav. I was telling you, I was having a bit of a life crisis when I realised how bald I was going, and I was just like, this re-imbued me with
the man with the most hair in the podcast is having a bald issue. So
I am. It's going. It's
7 minutes, 7 minutes, 7 hours 32. So it's 28 minutes quicker than, in fairness, what's probably an ambitious target of 8.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Ashley asks, what do you eat to fuel yourself these days, Phil? Do you have a special diet with gels and whatnot during the race, or do you just load up on pasta?
Okay, so I won't get too gruesome, but unfortunately, I was actually really sick yesterday as well, right?
Yeah.
So I was meant to start at 7. I didn't start until 20 past 7 due to stomach issues. That's all I'm going to say, right? So I was 20 minutes behind when I was meant to start. So I had to put the foot down when I did start, right? So that wasn't good. I used to use gels, but for these much longer stuff, I've gone away from gels and moved more to solids. So I'm a big fan of and this
Snickers.
They might be a sponsor. Cliff Bars. I think they're the best things in the whole world, right? They're most addictive things, but they're a little bit healthier, and they've got good carbs and stuff like that. And then I've also got a really high carb drink mix, which is basically just really sugary water, right? But it's a really good carb mix that keeps you going. So, and then I talked to a coach, not that I'm being coached, but I talked to a guy who was what was the best thing to do. So I was aiming for somewhere between 75 and 80 grams of carbs an hour, right? So the idea is that you don't get tired, right? You don't really. So I have a carb and electrolyte mix that prevents you from getting cramps. And I'll be honest with you, I got home and my other half, Rosie, was here, met me at the finish line, and came home, and she was like, "You must be starving." I wasn't hungry. I know that sounds mad, but I wasn't hungry at all after doing it, because I'd fueled. Yeah. Constantly, you're basically and eating on the bike and drinking on the bike constantly.
It shows them bars work, like, because, like, even down the golf club. Now I know this is not anywhere near like 200 kilometers, but there's these bars down there just called golf bars, right? It's on the fucking called, and everyone down there is raving about them. They're like when you're out playing golf, especially, probably I would say lads in their 50s and 60s. they're pushing these buggies around, and they're like, but they come down, they go, no, them golf bars are brilliant, you have them, coming down the 8th or 9th, and you feel like you're fucking full of energy going, I don't know, it's probably just a bleeding,
It's not.
probably a
It's not.
Frosty's bar with just golf written on it.
But Gav, I used to think that, and even like from what all the stuff I've read up and all the stuff I've researched on it, it's not. It's a genuine, right? All those bars aren't great if you're just walking around eating them and doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
But if you're using them in a place where if you're exercising, no matter what the exercise is, and you're expending energy and you're putting in roughly the same or slightly less than what you're exercising, it will keep you at a point that you can keep it's more so keep your mental strength as high, because your body will just keep going along. Your body keeps fueling, keeps burning, and all that type of stuff. So look, for me, I'm delighted. And the biggest thing, and I'll forget about me for a second, but the biggest thing was we managed to get over the $2,000 mark for
Yes.
for so far, right? So we're still 3 off the $5,000 target, but we're heading in the right direction. I haven't put any posts
in the right direction. Absolutely.
I haven't put any.
It's
I haven't put any posts out about it yesterday, and I'll tell you why, because the weather was so crap, right? I wasn't stopping for pictures and stuff like that. It wasn't a great day. All the gear that I have sponsored, I had to wear just a plain black top over the top of it just to stay warm on so much of it, because the weather's terrible at the moment. So that was the whole thing. But I will throw a few pics out. I'll throw a few more messages out there. But I'm absolutely delighted. As I said to you, we're over the $2,000 mark. We're heading to the 5. So as long as that keeps going, that's the only reason I'm doing this. It's outside of what can be done, but that's the main reason I'm doing it.
Well, to be honest with you now, like, if anyone's watching, the link is in the description of the show, and it will be in the description when you download. So if you've listened to that, Phil's done 200 kilometers on a bike with a climb of 3,000 meters across it all. He's doing it for Laura Lynn Hospice, which is unreal. It's a brilliant place to do it for. He is targeting $5,000. We're doing it where we have a link in the description of every show as well, because we've committed to $5,000 for Laura Lynn, $5,000 for fan support and fuel banks, and $5,000 towards the lighthouse. And you know what? It's getting harder and harder to get donations. I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking hard. Like, we're doing a golf day that, like, genuinely, it's the lowest attended golf day we've done in 3 years, because lads are busy, this, that, and the other.
Yep.
But we stand to make about 1,500 quid on the day, which is actually lower than we've done over the last couple of years. But 1,500 quid to the total that we already have is huge. So, we're hoping that brings us up near about over $4,000. We still have spaces available if people want to email us or get in contact with us. It's €100 to sponsor a tee box. We're going to put it across all our social media, for who's sponsors and stuff like that. And we've had individuals. I've had I'm not going to name the person. Himself and his wife have done a cup, sponsored a few. I've had another lad, him and his family, sponsor a couple of tee boxes. It doesn't have to be a business. It can just be yourself to show support. So the links are in the description. talkinkop1@gmail.com if you want to get to us to sponsor us for any of these things. But if you can, please share them, because what Phil is doing I think is mind blowing, but he's mental, so it suits him. And then what we're trying to do, especially in the off season, fan support and fuel banks, is the hardest part of the year. And honest to God, end of May to the middle of August is hard for fan support and fuel banks, because the fans won't be outside Anfield and Goodison every week to take in perishable foods or donations. So that's where we've been. Ashley asked, how long have you been doing this? Is it a relatively new pursuit? Just before we move on to the football.
So I've cycled all my life, but not like anything like this. Like, I cycled to school.
Going to BMX with mag wheels on it.
Cycled to work. We used to BMX a bit, and but no, not the road. But probably since about nothing like this, maybe 2 years.
Yeah,
3 years, 3.5 years, 3.5 years.
You'd have to realise about Phil, right? He's the sort of person I feel he always has to be moving or doing something, right? And then he thinks of mad stuff, and that's why he finds all these mad sports. And then he's cantankerous, he's belligerent, he's fucking just so. He won't let this beat him. You know what I mean? He's so fucking headstrong, and he's like, no, fuck yous. Do you know what I mean? And if they said to him next week, listen, the Wicklow's being put up to 300, he'd be like, I'm doing it. He won't let it beat him, and to tire him with that hospice is fantastic. So yeah, 2 years on the bike.
I've been doing cycling, like, basically, right?
Yeah, everyone's cycled that. You like the cycle as a hobby, but this isn't a hobby anymore.
So I guess where everyone doesn't know, and it's only the ones who have been on the pod longer, I was a footballer back in the day, right? You
Yeah.
know this, Gav, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was not blowing my own trumpet. I was decent enough, played amateur for Ireland, and that's where I spent all my time training and stuff like that, right? I had a massive gap from when I finished playing to setting up the pod back in 2013, and then we had COVID. And I got addicted because you know what I'm like to endurance sports while I sat there drinking and eating as much as I possibly could.
Yeah.
On
Dorito
a
dust
field.
everywhere when you went. He's
Yeah.
fucking deadly at running up that hill.
The only difference is I kept saying to the other half, I can do that. And she's
Yeah.
like, no, you can't. I was
Yeah.
like, I can do that.
Yeah.
And the first thing, when they opened the events, I signed myself up to an adventure race. And that was the first thing I did. And then that's what it's got in. So I'm doing about 3 years. And as you know, we've been talked about the other events I've done. I've gone from being just like everyone else going along to it to actually getting into a bit competitive in terms of being in the top 20 for my age
Yeah,
group.
you like to be in your age group. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
'Cause
like
it's
honestly, and I know that's just another part of you that wants to do that. But in fairness, like, you know, 200 kilometers around that bleeding place in Wicklow. Like I know Tinahely, and I know that drop down into the village, and then it's back up a big hill in the village, and I know it's a tiny little place. And then I've driven all them roads, you know, out Tinahely, Carnew, back towards Gorley. And
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I've driven them all, so they do go up and down and wind and all sorts of stuff. But no, listen, I'm not making any apologies for not talking football for the first 20 minutes here, to be honest with you. I think it's deadly. So if you can donate, we've said it all before, Troy. So, Phil, the transfer thing.
Yes.
The rules are you have £350,000 sterling as a wage buffer because of the departures of Thiago and Matip. I will read out the goalkeepers, then the defenders, midfield.
Should I not get more?
No. It's a buffer.
Why?
You can go above it.
All right.
It's a buffer because those two have left. You would, if we like what you were paying at the start of the season, if you had changed nothing, they'd be paying 350 grand less a week, right?
Okay.
So I'll read them out, go through them, tell me who you want to keep, tell me who you want to leave, if you want to bring anybody in. I'll keep an eye on what you're spending. Obviously, anything you sell, you get to put back into the pot. If you want to keep Trent, it's going to cost you 100 grand a week extra. You can keep Virgil and you can keep Mo, but they can stay on the same terms because of their age. And then it's up to you what you want to do. So, start with your favourites. Goalkeepers, Alisson, Adrian and Kelleher. Now, Adrian has been offered a deal, which he's expected to take. But the rumour is he's on 60 grand a week. So just to let you know, a lot of people just kept him. Emma kept him and said no, but he's only getting 30. Because you are the director of football. It's not what you think Liverpool may do, it's what you would do. But we're trying to keep it somewhere realistic, so Adrian looks like he will sign a deal. So you can absolutely drop his wages if you want. And look, if you come out with anything that I kind of go, well, what's going on here? I'll tell you as we go. So let's start with goalkeepers. We'll rattle through them because me and you want to be out of here by half time, we said. So Alisson, Adrian, Kelleher.
Right.
What are you doing?
Selling all of them.
No, I'm selling all of them, and I'm bringing in Scott Carson off Man City. That's all I'm doing.
Saving the wages.
Yeah. I'm just literally going to FSG and going, listen, I've fixed it all. Like, we've all the money. Come on, we can't be having this. You're keeping Alisson.
Okay. I'm keeping Alisson. I'm keeping Adrian because it seems that he's been kept, so there's no point in having that debate, right?
Would you like to cut him from 60 to 30 grand a week, though?
I'd like to cut him full stop.
Yeah, I know you would, but, like, in realistic terms, do you think it's... Like, Adrian's on 60 grand a week, right? And he's never playing again for Liverpool. So he's literally a 60 grand a week coach.
Right, but can I just say, right? Can I just genuinely, right? If whoever you bring in to replace Adrian, if you're going to go for so you're going to have a young fella and a vet, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to be on at least 50 grand a week. Scott Carson's not paying subs over at Manchester City.
No, that's true. Right, well, you can leave Adrian there. That's fine. Kelleher.
So we leave Alisson and the Adrian because it's A's, and then we're going to promote Yaros as main deputy to Alisson. Right?
Are
so
you?
it's costing. Yeah.
And are you doing that now to annoy people, or are you doing that of a genuine? I'd put Yaros in there.
from what I've seen, and genuine what I've seen, as opposed to just saying this, right? And from the feedback that's out there, that he's ready, and I think he's in. Is he in the? I think isn't he in the Hungary squad for the
I think he
European
starts
Championships?
tonight in a friendly, actually.
Yeah. So
Okay.
his performance has been good enough to say, right, if we're going to let Kelleher go, and remember, the one proviso I'll put is they brought Slot in because they believe in his ability to develop players and young talent that's already at the club, not just to sign a load of new players, right?
Okay.
So I genuinely think you can make money here. I think you sell Kelleher, you take the transfer fee, which you can bank to do whatever you want with, right?
How much do you want
And
from?
then for Kelleher, I'd 5 million.
So let me tell you,
I think a genuine fee is
the average this week is between 20 and 25 million.
Yeah, I heard this, and people are mad.
But I don't think they are, Phil. I think genuinely he's a guy at 25 years of age. Right.
Can I tell you why they're mad there, Gav?
Bill,
I'll tell you why they're mad, right? I'll tell you why they're mad. Because the impact, unless City are successful in overturning the Premier League's right to legislate against its own league in the next couple of days, right? Then the teams are going to adhere to the whatever financial principles are in situ as it is. And I think the days of crazy mad transfer fees, I'm not saying big transfer fees are gone, but the crazy mad transfer fees for inter-team transfers is going to subside a bit. And you're going to see an almost a deflationary impact on the fees that are being paid out across teams, because they do have to start thinking about wages, and they do have to start thinking about how much they can spend and where they can spend
I
it.
100% get that. But at the end of the day, right, if Creevy Kelleher is hinting at not wanting to leave, but looking at the possibility of being a number one somewhere else, realistically, Liverpool aren't taking anything less than 20, 25 million quid from him. Because he's going to go to a team in the Premier League and be the number one.
But you haven't asked me. Genuinely, I think we're going to sell him. He'll be sold for somewhere between, I'd say, 15 and 18 million with add-ons, right?
Are you putting a buyback in? Because
no, I'm putting a sell on in, but a double sell on. So you know the Solanke one, where he has a sell on clause that we get 20%. We'll get 20% of the profit that is made despite him signing the contract extension with Bournemouth.
Right. So that's any sale at all.
Any sale.
I'm gonna say. So you're saying 18 million for Kelleher.
Yep.
He's only on 10 grand a week, so you get that 10 grand, and you want a 20% sell on.
Yeah, the same as what they did with Solanke. Actually, I'm going to do 25% of any profit to make in a sell on. Yeah,
25% sell on profit.
And the reason why I'm doing that, Gav, is because if, say, you did want to sign him back, right? You're giving him what he wants, which is the opportunity to be a number one somewhere else, right? And if you did decide to bring him back because he was so good and Alisson has decided to move on, you're knocking off 25% of whatever fee will be there.
Okay, but then you would have to insert. Are you looking to insert a buyback as well?
No.
Okay, so you're just going in. You're going in to buy him back, without having the right to buy him back. If you mean, yeah.
But we won't ever buy him back, and I don't mean this. Mean this dismissively or negatively to Caoimhin Kelleher. I think he's a smashing goalkeeper. I think he's been brilliant for us when he's deputised. But I don't think we would sign him back to be number one at the club.
Okay, so that would leave you then with Alisson, Adrian, and Yaros. It would leave you with 18 million in the pot, and I'm going to leave her at 350k because let's give Yaros the 10k that Kelleher earns. I think that's fair. Right?
That's fair.
Okay. Right. Okay. Let me go through this. So you've got Trent, Gomez, VVD, Kanate, Kwanzaa, Robertson, Simicast,
Bradley.
All right. So let me go through them. Are you keeping Trent and giving him a new deal?
Let's just come back to that in a few minutes.
Okay. Gomez.
Let's just come back to that in a few
Fuck off. You're here all night.
So, okay, let me put it this way. I think I think we won't move any of them.
No, no,
Right?
no. I don't think. I want to know what
But
you would do.
what I would do,
Yeah.
I would cash in on Gomez.
Okay. So
I
Gomez
don't
goes out.
I don't think Gomez's worth will ever be higher than what it is at the moment. And that's not to slate or slander the
Okay.
fella. I
No,
think
that's
he's
fine.
been a
That's
smashing
fine.
servant, right?
Are you keeping VVD?
Yes.
You can extend on same terms. Kanate. You keeping Kanate?
If Gomez is gone because we're maximising, I'm keeping Canasa. Yeah.
Okay. Kwanzaa. Yep.
Yep.
Robertson.
Just about. Yeah.
Yep. Simicas.
Simicas. No.
He goes out. Bradley.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're back to Trent. Trent has a year left on his deal. Are you extending that deal? If so, it's going to take 100 grand off your buffer.
Yeah, but I've just made some money back because I got rid of Gomez.
Right? Okay, so you're keeping Trent? You're extending?
So I am going to. Yeah, and like people might be going, "Oh, he's just in." But here's the thing, right? If you really wanted to transform the squad, and you got an offer of 200 million off Real Madrid to
But you're not
let
getting
him go, right?
it. He's a
I'm
year
just
left on
saying,
his deal.
yeah. But if you did, because that's the money we're talking about. But that's why I want to keep him. And I think actually, because I think there's a bigger debate to get into this. I think actually, he proves more worth than what we're getting at the moment over the next 5 years because of his age and his maturing as a player.
So you're
And that's what we've
keeping...
got. And think of what we've got out of him already.
Yeah.
Like he's the next leader in the club.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just... The only thing I'm wary of is the fact that Van Dijk has been fairly open about his commitment to the club and his commitment to the new manager and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that means that he will extend. You have Salah on the last day of the season saying we'll be back next year to fight for everything, which that makes me think that he'll at least stay and run out his contract. Haven't heard a word on Trent. And coupling that, and I know this sounds like mad paranoia, but coupling that with Trent over the last 6 months becoming fairly vocal with regards to media interviews and how much he looks up to Klopp and what he sees himself as, that makes me worry. And at the end of the day, it's the 10th of June, and in about 3 weeks' time to the day, Trent Alexander-Arnold will have less than 12 months left on his deal, and that worries me a lot. Because I worry when it goes 18 months, to be honest with you. But look, it could be a case of, listen, let's get the Euros out of the way and we'll sort it then. And that might be absolutely fine. But Gomez goes. So what you think you can't get any? He's at the height of his sort of value for you at the moment, with the seasons he's had. But he's obviously not someone that you see going forward. So what sort of money for Gomez?
So I'd have him. Now this comes back to what's happening in the overall transfer market. So before people start shouting at me, I'm mad, and we should be getting 100 million from him, the whole lot, right? But I'm thinking 40 to 45 million.
Right? 40 million for Joe Gomez.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, it's your game. 40 million for Joe Gomez, and I think Ashley is in the chat here, so she'll go and check what Joe Gomez is on with regards to wages. I would say he's probably on around 80 grand a week. That would be my guess.
I'd say more.
Well, we'd say he's signed a couple of deals. He's at the club since 2015, isn't he? So he's probably signed 2 deals in that time.
Yeah, to me. So he's I'd have Gomez going and for 40 million.
And we had Simicas in between 12 and 15, most of us this week.
And we'll be able to do it because either Spurs or Chelsea will want to sign him, right?
Oh, Gomez, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to give you, and I think we had Simicas at 50k, right? So that would mean then that you're taking in 55 million, okay, from those players. I'll get the wages now in a second for you. So, defensively, what are you looking to bring in? Because now you're down Matip, you're down Gomez, and you're down Simicas. Sorry, Joe Gomez on 85 grand a week. What did I say about 80? He's on 85. Yep. Okay, thanks, Ashley. Right. So defensively, what are you looking to bring in?
So I'm bringing in left back.
Okay.
I'm bringing in Lucas Piton.
Is he a real player?
He is, yeah. You
Okay.
can check.
Okay.
Right?
How do you spell his name? Not the Lucas bit.
Piton.
Who's he from?
He's playing with, I think it is what's the name? Vasco da Gama.
Oh, okay. Lucas Piton, left back.
Yep.
Age?
He's 23.
23. Okay. What sort? What? Can I ask you why Lucas Piton has grabbed your attention? Is he Brazilian?
Because, no, well, he is Brazilian, but he has an Italian passport.
Ah, okay, right. So yeah, okay. So he can play for either, or has he played for?
I think he's played. Has he played for Brazil? I can't remember. But anyway, no, I think he's Italian. But I think he wants to be Italian. But anyway, the reason I picked him, I saw a bit of South American football and I saw Vasco da Gama playing. And I was like, I like the cut of his jib. Quick, smart, young, attacking, right? And going back to what Slot wants to do with fullbacks, and if you're playing 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
And if we've realised value on Simicas, I think bringing him in would be a good, cheap replacement to both challenge and back up.
So
Robertson.
you're doing a bit of forward planning here. You feel that this player, Lucas Piton, could be the player that at some stage this season or possibly next season takes the left back throne off Andy Robertson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What sort of money are you thinking?
About a total deal worth about 10 million quid.
So you're going 10 million, and what are you giving him a week?
You're probably putting, I'd say he's about 50 grand a week.
50
most.
Okay, that's fine.
40 to 50.
Okay.
You might even get him on 40, right? You might get him on 45.
We put it at 50, right? So
I think I'm being very generous to him. He'd probably love to have me as an agent if I'm getting him 50 grand a week. You'd probably get me in.
And just saying to him, listen, do you want to be Italian? Because I can make that happen. I can literally make you Italian. And he's like,
for you.
You're going with a centre back, I presume, as well.
Centre back, yeah.
Right. So who's the centre back?
Yeah. This is the bit that I sort of struggled on because, like, do you want to go? We need to go younger, right?
He's on 5.5 grand a week, Lucas Piton, at the moment.
Yeah. So there you go. Giving him 10 times the salary. He's gone. Yeah. We get him for 25 grand a week, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
We would get him for 10 grand.
I think you should put that to 30.
Okay, let's go 30.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just being
back. This is where you struggled.
I was just being. Yeah, this is where I struggled. And so I sort of fell back because I'm not watching as much football as I used to. But I'm going to go for your man, Schlotterbeck of Dortmund.
Kev done the exact same.
Yeah?
Yeah. Schlotterbeck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I still have the pages here to tell you what we had on him with regards to value more than anything else. That was my one. There was just people everywhere this week I was doing them for. I did have Schlotterbeck. Where did I have him? No, wasn't him. Schlotterbeck we had at 65 million and 80k a week.
Okay, I think you'd probably get him a little less, right?
Okay.
Despite it all, because ultimately they like, I think you probably get them for 45 to 50 million. To be totally honest with you, right? I'd agree with the wages. I don't think you're going to get money on anything less than the wages, but I definitely think you might get them for a slightly less.
So what did I say there? 80 was it? 80k a week.
You had 80k a week. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Steve Murphy says good man. I had Schlotterbeck in his as well. Steve Murphy's doing this, and he won't tell us his team. He just keeps telling us that he's doing it, but he doesn't want that. Jerry says I'm not watching as much football as I used to, and then talking about some left back in Brazil. I tell you what happened. The South American highlights come on after fucking two fellas were throwing bowling balls at each other in a game of bleeding heads and volleys or something that Phil was watching.
I turned on accidentally ESPN 76 and it was on there.
Are you finished with Piton and Schlotterbeck? Are you done defensively? Okay.
Job done, yeah.
All right. So that would mean then that you have, let me just see, you have taken in 55 million there
Mm-hmm.
on players. Okay. Um, you've got 135 of them wages, but you're getting 100 off Trent, so that leaves you with 35, 65. That's 145 from 350, leaves you 205k, right? And you've taken in 55 million. You've spent 60 million,
Mm-hmm.
so that's 5 million over. So you're still minus 13 million. You're still made 13 million at the moment because you've got 18 million for Kelleher. You've taken in so far, 40, 58, 68, 73,
Mm-hmm.
and you've spent 60. Yeah. So you've made 13 million and your buffer is now at 205k. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Right. Midfield. So we have Endo, Szoboszlai,
I'll make this
McAllister.
quick, right?
Yeah, just let me
I'm
write
not
them
letting.
down so we can get them at the end. McAllister, Jones, Elliott, Gravenberch, and I'm missing one more. Endo, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Jones, Elliott, Gravenberch, Bojcetic. That was the options in midfield. Are you selling any of those players?
No.
No. Okay, cool. Most people didn't. Only one did. Shawnee. Oh, no, sorry, two. Shawnee. Oh, sorry, three. Shawnee sold Gravenberch. And Keith and Emma both sold Endo. Are you bringing in a midfielder? Would you like to bring in a midfielder?
I think we need a midfielder, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is one that Slot may bring with him as essentially his man in midfield, assuming it fits the stats for the lads in there. But I think this fellow will, so that's why I think he'll take Matt Sweefer.
Yeah. His name has popped up quite a bit this week. Hasn't been picked by anybody. His name has been picked. Thrown in a lot. Yeah, I'm on board with him bringing one from Feyenoord because I think I went with the Gertrude, the right back / centre back / DM. I think Shawnee went with the goalkeeper. A couple of one or two or others went with Gertrude. But this guy did pop up a few times. Why do you think this fella fits?
I just think that if he's going to play, so if he wants a fella who's going to jump in and flip in and be able to drop in between the two centre backs that allows, I think Slot's initial preferred way of playing is going to be closer to what Klopp's was prior to this inverted fullback malarkey, right?
Yeah.
And
so
that's
you're
why I think
Fabinho type dropping in between the two centre halves and
the two centre backs going more natural, which then that gives license for Alexander and Robertson again to get back forward, right?
Okay.
And I think truly at our best, that was the best way we've ever played. When I go back and look at it, that's when Fabinho was in his absolute pomp and he was just dropping in and the two boys are open up. I also think it exposes Van Dijk less as his pace slows up.
One thing that really grabbed me, and I've said on a couple of shows, so I'm kind of boring people with this, was when I watched some highlights of them. One set was they beat Ajax 6-0, right? Now, I was watching an awful lot of what their wide men was doing. It really grabbed me what their centre forward was doing because their centre forward was actually, for me, the trigger for what the wide men were going to do. I.e., when they got it wide, if the forward kind of made a run behind the centre half, away from the goal, if you get me, it was a trigger for you go inside and shoot. I'm leaving space for you. If he stayed centrally, it was more or less a trigger for you need to go outside this guy and get it in the box to me. But one of the things I noticed was like they're 5-0 up, right? Ball goes into midfield, bounces, goes to one of the centre halves, and he knocks it up the pitch. And I swear to God, there's 4 of them, right, in a straight line within the width of the 18-yard box. Going at Ajax. 4 of them. Left midfielder, right midfielder, the forward and the 10. All in a line, right? And the whole idea was make sure they're challenged because when the ball drops, the two boys behind were up like a light on top as well. causing mayhem. You know, the sort of way. So that might he. I always feel that you bring one with you to basically say, look, this is how we played over there. This is what he's trying to tell you here is this is it. And he doesn't become your spokesperson, but he becomes your crash test dummy. You know, this is what it's doing. I don't know anything of this guy, Weaver. I don't know anything of him. I used to know a fella called Weaver from Finglas, but I don't think it's him, and I don't think he's a relation. But
I think he's a cousin of Nicky Weaver that used to play and go for Manchester City.
Nicky Weaver. He's the Dutch cousin. Over here, they call him Weaver. Over there, they call him Weaver. Jerry wants to know, will Coop Miners be a better player than Weaver if he's gone for a former player? Coop Miners is being linked, but
it's my turn.
Jerry, it's your turn. How much have you got? How much is it taking to get this guy out of Feyenoord?
So, see, this is again. Everyone inflate the values that this is mad and you're gonna have to pay $1 billion for him and everything like that. But I'd say you probably get him for about 25 million, right?
Do you know what's left on his deal?
11 weeks or so.
He's 4 months left on his VHI, but other than that, no, I'm not too sure.
I didn't know. I think he's.
You think you're going in and getting that player for £30 million?
He's 3 years left on his
what age is he?
Contract. He's 24. If you've noticed anything, the signings I'm making, they're all under the age of 25 because Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes are back at the club, right? Nobody's getting signed over the age of, unless it's a freebie, nobody's getting signed over the age of 25.
Jerry says the last thing Slock can do is come in and say, this is what we've done at Feyenoord. No, look, that's what he's going to do. He's not going to come in and go, lads, this is what I do, but don't mention where I done it. He's genuinely going to do that. He's going to come in and go, this is the way I want to play.
They got 6.8 grand a week, so we're going to stick him on. We're going to give him a nice little bump. He's getting.
So what are you saying? Are you saying 30 million on 35 grand a week?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you have to go to 40 grand a week.
No, it's.
They get taxed half it.
Richard Hughes is on the phone here to me at the moment. He's offering me a job. Yeah, you're deadly. You are.
Yeah, rapper.
How do you know who we're signing?
30 million. I actually think you have to go 50k on him. They get taxed half it.
Yeah, look, but we pay him. We're going to pay this fella in euros, which is like 10 million sterling a week, right? So it's grand.
So what are you sticking 30 million and 30 grand?
How much did we give Lucas Piton? We dropped him down, didn't we?
30 grand you're giving Lucas Piton.
Well, we give him 45. We give this fella 45, right?
45. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so 30 million. Anybody else in midfield?
No.
You're happy with that? Okay.
We've got loads of midfielders, and I think Bajcetic is going to be this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think we've loads, and I think we've loads of cover there no matter what way he wants to play, to be honest with you. But I think
that's why my whole thing is quite bored. There's not going to be much movement.
No, it's not like none of them have been extravagant all week. It's just something to do while there's nothing happening.
You told me I couldn't sell everyone because then we would have been.
No, well, that would be stupid. Like, I'm selling Trent, Gomez, VVD can fuck off. You know what I mean? And I'm signing Bleeding. Johnny Evans on a free. Like, that's what I was half expecting.
It's a good move.
So, you now are 17 million you've spent net. And you have 160k of your buffer left. All right. So let's go. Jota, Núñez, Diaz, Gakpo, Salah. I'm going to tell you right now, you are definitely selling Diaz and keeping the rest. Correct?
I'm selling Diaz and Jota.
Oh, okay. So he goes. Ashley, I need to find me out what Jota is on because it hasn't come up this week. Diaz is on 60 grand a week, by the way.
Okay.
And the fee most people gave this week was between 60 and 70 million. 70
yeah,
million
I think that's fair.
Right. Okay. So 70 million on Diaz. What are you taking on Jota? What's the reason behind that?
The best ability is availability, and unfortunately, he doesn't have that.
Okay. The only thing is, Konate doesn't have that either. He's averaged 15 league
But
games for Liverpool a season.
100% hear you. The only difference is he's younger, and if there's any chance of a fella having a run, he has a better chance than Jota, who's getting older and is continually injured. Do you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
at least Konate played 15 games.
What do you think about Jota? I think he's 2 years left on his deal, Jota. Jota's on 140 grand a week, by the way. And I think Jota is up in 2026. I think. So what are you taking from?
So for Jota,
You paid about
what age
40.
what age is he again?
27ish, maybe.
So
Like
you can't just see him.
I don't look up players' ages.
All right.
I kind of know he's grand. I don't look up their wages. I don't look up when they have
Sorry.
things left.
Sorry.
Someone else will do that. I just like the whole romance of selling people and not selling them. Someone will find out Jota's age and his contract length. But let's presume he's 27 and he's out of contract in 2026.
Okay. So I'm selling him for 45 million.
Do you think you get 45 million on the back of you're going to someone and going, listen, this fella's worth selling him because he's constantly injured? Give us 45 million.
I'm telling you now, there's teams out there that would bite your hand off for Jota.
He is 27, by the way. That's been confirmed.
Do you know who's going to give it to us?
Who?
Do you know who's going to give it to us? Newcastle. So we're going to get 50 million from him.
Okay, so we're going to go, I'll let you go 45.
Right.
140 a week. Okay, so that means that you have sold Diaz and Jota for a combined 150.
Scouts are pleased to have. That's too low.
Million.
Yeah.
Too low. I don't think it's too low on Jota. At 27, and I get the injury record. My thing behind it is, I think if you're getting rid of Diaz, I think it's too much disruption up front. If you're getting rid of Diaz and taking another one, that's my only take on it. But it's not my turn. It's yours.
I understand that, but when you're getting rid of a fella who doesn't play and another fella who's useless, then I've no issue at all.
Right. Okay. Well, we've had many arguments over Diaz and his usefulness, but
well, if you like fellas doing step overs and nothing ever happening, he's a great player, and that's he'd definitely suit a team like Barcelona.
Okay. All right. 115 million in. All right. 200k. Jerry feels nobody's paying 30 to 35 plus for Jota.
It's interesting how people are split on this one. I've been told it's too low. Then we're telling
Scouts or pieces, we're getting our money back 55 to 60 million at least.
It's mad, isn't it?
You see, my argument on Jota is, yes, I get the injury thing, but I think if you sign a belter up front to replace Diaz, right? I think you keep Jota. And you walk around the fact that he might only play 30 games a season in a 60-game season. Because when he plays, he's fucking brilliant. And then, if you've signed that belter with the idea that it's a salary replacement, right? Not even a Diaz one, it's looking at a salary replacement. I think next year you look and you say to yourself, right, Jota has been injured again this season. Now we make the decision on now. And now we forward plan. And that's where I would go on. I keep getting the thing in my head that we want as much kind of fluidity throughout this kind of transition as we can. But you're going to go two forwards here. So I'm dying to know what they are.
Genuinely, this is where I'm struggling with, right? Because I was trying to go, who would you? Because I don't know how he's going to set this team up. Like when this was Klopp, right? You knew it was going to be fellas who could more or less be attacking all three across attacking sides. Well, I think how we could set up could have a big impact on this, Gav. I genuinely think it could be a huge, big impact on us. Because I think when I look at it and go, right, who do I truly, truly, truly feel will fit where? And I think, well, if Slot comes in and does it just slightly and has a 2-1 4-3-1 essentially set up, in terms of, roughly speaking, in terms of, instead of having two midfielders in advance, having two midfielders at the base with which is more or less like a 4-5 attacking fellas, pure attacking fellas up front with two wide and two through the centre or whatever it is. Then it's very different because, like, I could see Salah being pushed in off the wing and playing as the support striker a lot more central. So you're not relying on an out-and-out pace in terms of out wide. Nunes being asked to do the number 9 role a lot more, assuming that he stays. And if he doesn't, then who does? Because then you need a central striker. I think when you go back to this, the big question is, do we need a central striker? And if so, who would you bring in? Because central strikers are all the vogue at the moment, and there's not many good ones anymore because we've spent years trying to figure out how to play without strikers, right? Essentially, this is what's been the vogue that's been going on for ages, which is why your man, fella, plays for City, is such a freak. Haaland, right? Yeah, in terms of what's there. So, yeah, like, for me, this is where I really struggle as to what I would go for and who. Then I was thinking, right, what does it look like? So I don't know. Is the simple answer? I'm trying to work out if we're pushing Salah in. And then I was like, well, if I'm pushing him in, I'm creating more. I'm moving fellas around all over the shop, and I'm creating more headaches for myself in terms of what's there. When the likes of Elliott, even Gravenberch can play off the 10. You can move McAllister up if you want. You can move him back if you want. So Bozolay's natural position is to play in around that space as well. So, yeah, I really struggled with this part. After I sold the lads, I really struggled. What I was going to do next, I was like, good luck. See us, we're grand. We'll just move on and see how we go. And then trying to bring in, again, this part that you have to factor in is this desire of the club to bring in younger players that have marketable value, right? So you're looking at somebody that's in an age bracket of maybe 23 to 26 in reality, right? Anything older than that, and you're going to be buying prime player in terms of what's there. So I heard a few of the lads mention your man Mbeumo of Brentford, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think he fits if you go a slightly different route in terms of what's there. I'm going to say something that people aren't going to like, but I think it'd actually be a good signing for us. The fellow I'd bring in, and we're going to have to pay a few quid, I'd bring in Bowen, and he's 20. Everything I've just said that goes out the window, but I'd bring in Bowen off West Ham. I think he'd fit into this.
I don't think they're going near him.
I don't think they would, but I'm just telling you.
No, this is what you do. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And what about the fella? What about the fella that's at the club with him in Kudus? Now, he was my pick. Reason being is because Salah's, in my opinion, Salah goes this summer or next. And I don't think so.
I think Salah stays and sees out his deal and goes. Yeah. And I'll tell you why, right? They won't want to lose a talisman in a season of change where you're changing the manager and the coaching structure and everything around it, right? Yeah. It's too big. So do you know actually who's on my list? Who's on my hit list?
By the way, are you bringing in two here to replace these two?
Yeah.
Right. So are you going with Bowen?
Bowen was a name, but actually, do you know who? And I know it's unrealistic, but do you know who I'd bring in?
Go on.
Jadon Sancho.
Oh.
People won't like him, right? But once he got away from United, look at his performances for Dortmund all season long.
How much did he cost you?
This is the problem. How do you do this deal? Because it never happens, right? It never happens. So assuming Ten Hag is sacked, not sacked, whatever it is, right? If Southgate goes in, he'll just buy all the England team. Actually, Gomez could go to United. So there you go. We get another 20 million for that one, right? But I genuinely would sign Sancho if we could. How much are you going to buy him for?
Sancho and Bowen, is that what you're looking at?
No, if one over the other, I'd go with Sancho over Bowen. Right. Okay. The realistic one is probably Bowen, and you're probably paying about 45 million to 50 million because he's at West Ham and whatever, right?
Yeah.
I just think Sancho is. I think the talent level is too high. Is underlying talent. I think he just needs to be in a proper club. Dog's getting excited. See, he got excited
he
when he heard
does this
Sancho
heavy
as well.
bleeding night. He's let into the room. He's doing me fucking head in.
You're probably
Just
paying
ignore him.
like so. If Dortmund were to buy Sancho, they're probably getting him for 35 million, right?
Yeah.
If Liverpool are to buy Sancho, they're probably getting him for 65 million. Let's be honest about this.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
You
bringing
see,
in.
the thing is, if Ten Hag leaves, I think Sancho goes back to United. I absolutely think he goes back to United, and
Yeah.
because Dortmund can't afford his wages. Sorry, I just give me a second, will you? Dog, out. He's looking at his reflection in the window. So Sancho, I'm interested.
Yep.
I'm interested. So I think if you're signing Sancho, you're paying. If you were going for him, I think you're paying 65 million for him.
That's what I said. I think Dortmund would sign will buy him for 35.
1 sec. Sorry, he's just running away from me.
That's all right.
Hold on.
Do you want me to catch him on the bike?
He's out. Perfect. 65 million, but you see the problem here is now. This is. Oh, he just walked back in. For fuck's sake. This is 300 grand a week.
And
You're making him your club's top earner.
but you aren't though. Honestly, right? Because this is not. I'm going to be straight here. This fella is trying to resurrect his career. The amount of bad press that's been put out there about him being having mental health issues and all that type of stuff, right? When he was at United, it was terrible. And I think on that basis, you will get him at a considerable markdown. I still think you're going to be spending upwards of 150 to 170 grand a week, but I think it'd be like incentive based. You know the way they've done the contracts with Mane and with Salah and stuff like that.
So if I said to you, if I put it into your head that you got Sancho for 65 million, 200 grand a week, is that something you're going with?
No, I'm telling you, we're getting him for 65 million and 160 grand a week. Right?
Okay, right. And who are you going with him then? You see, I think this forward line is screaming out for a right winger.
This is where I'm putting Sancho.
He plays off the left.
I'm putting him off the right. I do what I want. You ask me, I'm telling you, I'm putting him there.
Okay, so who are you going with now then?
This is my turn, right?
Yeah.
I can do what I want. When I want. Can I do what I want? When I like. No one. Now, there you go.
So you're selling Jota and Diaz, and you're bringing in Sancho. So you're going to have Sancho, Núñez, Gakpo, Salah.
And Dance.
Okay. So that would leave you 115 million in, 65 out, which is 50 million of a kind of a profit on the forward line, which leaves you 33 million you've made over this summer. And you have 200 minus 160 is 40. So you have 200 grand of your buffer still left. I think the Sancho one is mental.
Listen, you asked me to come on.
The thing is here, right? Sancho goes back to United, and even if you don't want him, he's on 300 grand a week. So he doesn't have to fucking do anything.
But Gav, the fella clearly wants to play.
Okay. Right, fair enough.
He clearly wants to play. Well, I'm just saying to you, right? If people start getting annoyed, the only centre forward I had that I thought would be worth a look at, the only one was Jonathan David. You know, the Canadian fella.
Yeah.
That's with. Well, is he with Lille? Is he?
I couldn't tell you. He could be with the Bosco for all I fucking know.
I think he's in France, and remember we were linked with him before, and I think he scored in goals for them. And I was looking at it going, he's 24, he's 6 foot tall, he plays as a central striker, and there's the Canadian angle in terms of what it is. FSG would like it. You're able to sell it, and Tom Werner wants to have games all over the world like the NFL.
Don't be minding him.
I think he's a great fan. I think he's right.
In fairness, most of the fringe players that he had, like the Dans, blah blah, was like loan keep, but nothing really kind of keep him. He's going to the first team, so there's not too much in that. You've put Dans in there, right? So I'm gonna put him in there as part of your squad. I just 4 names I wanted to run by you before we finish. You have Carvalho, who was on loan at Hull. You have Morton, who was also on loan at Hull. You have Van den Berg, that was on loan at Mainz. And you've Nat Phillips, who went to Celtic, was appalling and hasn't been seen since. Are you keeping any of them? Or would you like to sell all 4, loan a few?
Well, I've already been on the record as saying Carvalho is the best footballer in the world, so I'm keeping him. Okay,
you're keeping him.
I think he actually fits better in if we change our style slightly. Does he listen to coaching? He might listen to this set of coaches, because I think wasn't the issue that he wasn't necessarily listening to the last set of coaches when it came to, and he's undeniably gifted in terms of a footballer. Phillips, fair play to you, did a great job when we no centre backs, and we did decide not to buy
5 million is the word on him. And then Van den Berg is your centre back, who apparently Liverpool are pricing at 20 million, but we've kind of gone, listen, you can choose between 10 and 15 on that, depending on what you think. If you're selling them, I presume you are, because he's one that's kind of risen through a loan at Preston, I think it was, and then on to Mainz. So now he's kind of in that space where if you want to make a few quid off the 3 million you bought him for.
I don't think he has the pace to play in the Premier League. I'm just saying, right? And so if you get anything north of 12 million, it's probably worth taking at this stage.
We put 15 on. And then Tyler Morton, centre midfielder, had a really good season.
Don't even know who he is, so off he goes.
Right, 10 million. Okay. So that would give you 10, 25, 40.
10.
No, you get
Wrexham
10.
will sign him.
You get 10.
Wrexham will sign him.
10, 50, 25, that's 30 million. Okay, so that means then that you have made, overall, I think you've made 63 million this summer.
That's why Richard Hughes is just on the phone to me, and FSG they're sending me emails now. Tom Werner's on the phone non-stop.
Anthony Keogh says these shows have been great crack. Is Pete getting a go? I'm sure I can message Pete and ask him to have a go during the week. But God knows where Pete will go with this. But let me read out your squad for everybody that's watching now and listening later, and you can run it back and see what you think. Alisson, Adrian, Yaros. Okay. Trent, VVD, Kanate, Kwanzaa, Robertson, Bradley, Lucas Piton, and Schlotterbeck. Endo, Soboslai, McAllister Jones, Elliot Gravenberch, Bajcetic, Matt Weaver, Nunez, Gakpo, Salah, Sancho, Dans. That's what you're going with for next season. It's interesting that you're done with Dans, I have to say. Again, I think that the Sancho one is just mad, but listen, I'm not even going to say stranger things have happened, because I don't think it has. And transfers between Manchester United and Liverpool hasn't happened for about 70 years. But Phil is like, no, listen, I can sort that. I'll smooth that over. It'll be all good. So that is Phil's squad.
Have a word.
Jerry says Phil's plan will be FSG's wet dream. I don't know how the fuck he's managed it, but he's come out with 63 million in his pocket and 200k left out was 350k. But there you go. That has been Phil's turn at the post strings. We're going to try to do a transfer show tomorrow night. Basically just looking at all the links to Liverpool. That, why. And we'll try to one on Thursday then, looking around the league. That's the plan. Wednesday we might get in and get somebody in to have another go at this. But if you're watching and you wanted to do any type of shows or whatever, let us know. We're trying to keep ourselves going through this summer. The Euros does start sometime this Friday, I think. I think it starts.
Can I tell you a stat in preparation for a podcast we discussed but never did, right?
Yeah.
Roberto Carlos only ever scored 4.9% of the free kicks he took in his whole time playing football.
Yeah. So Phil wants to do a podcast of a Monday, which will happen during the summer, where he's basically decided what are people well known for, but they're not actually that fucking good at it. So he started the conversation with Roberto Carlos and free kicks. Like, no good at them. But he's like, oh, Roberto Carlos was lethal. And he's like that. And then we threw a couple of names around. So it doesn't have to be football. It can be anything. You know, it could
Yeah.
be like
This fella was
Roy
dead.
Cropper's known for running a cafe, but you've never seen him make a roll in
Yeah.
Coronation Street. Things like that. It's 1964 since United sold a player to Liverpool. And I'm trying to think of the man's name now.
Nick Barmby.
It wasn't Nick Barmby. I actually think his name might have been Phil. Phil something.
Phil Armstrong.
But there you go. It's annoying me now that fucking thing. But anyway, that's what we may do next week or the week after. But it will happen during the summer. So if you think of things that people that are well known for something when they're not really that fucking good at it, let us know. It'll be part of a show at some stage. Thanks a million to Phil. Thanks a million to everyone in the chat. If you're downloading later, you know, leave us a review if you want. All that sort of stuff. And yeah.
Do you remember your man, Tim Henman? There's another one that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. Phil Chisnell was the guy's name. There you go. It was Phil.
Yeah.
Tim Henman. What? He was known for what?
Being a tennis player, and he couldn't play tennis.
He could play tennis. He could play tennis.
We'll discuss that.
Clearly, he could play tennis. That's ridiculous. Like, that's just saying, like, you know, that's just somebody that was really, really good at tennis up against some of the best players that's ever been seen, and just going, Phil Hammond or Tim Hammond was just, nah.
May as well have had Phil Henman.
Like, no good at tennis. He was clearly good at it. Anyway, see, that's where it'll go. Look, that's where it'll go. But anyway, we better get out of here. We ran 10 minutes over a lot of time, so we are out of here. Thanks to Phil. Thanks to everybody. We'll see you soon. Over and out. What did we say?
Hit the button there, Gav, will you?
Hit that button.